Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Sauter, who's been running Las Vegas Sports Services for 14 years, as well as world champion handicapper Jim Feist. A big NBA weekend. We're going to take a look at 3 NBA games going this weekend. But first, Jim Feist, off that terrific week. I know you had your big baseball play, American League Total of the Month on Tuesday. That was the winner with the Twins Rays over. And then you had Dallas Mavericks as your first round game of the year. I want to thank you because I did bet that, but I also wanted to, how come you didn't tell me about the money line? I would have cashed in even more.
I don't think I had enough confidence to bet the money line, but I love the 8 points.
All right, Jeff, you've been on a dynamite basketball and baseball run. Top plays on the Nationals and the Reds on Wednesday, a 4-2-1 Tuesday with all plays. I know you had the Pacers in game 2. You stepped out figuring Indiana was going to bounce back, and they did. And you've been on a phenomenal baseball and NBA run.
Yeah, 50-25 in baseball, 18-6 are the best bets. After a slow start, I'm now on a 6-2 run in the NBA playoffs. If you want excitement, you want to call LVSS. I had a blockbuster on the Nationals Wednesday night. They got 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth to win 5-4. It's just been a great run in baseball for LVSS. But now you got to get 2 weeks of baseball and NBA for only $19. And when you sign up, you got to get a high roller consensus release. That's a 20-star play, $100 value as a bonus. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916, 1-866-575-8916. 2 weeks of baseball and NBA for just $19.
All right, our first series, guys, you got the Bulls playing the Wizards on Friday. Jim, it's a young Washington team against the veteran Bulls, and yet Washington up 2-0, stealing both on the visitors' court. Now they're coming home. How is Washington doing it?
Well, quite frankly, after watching the first 2 games, and Washington's healthy now, they're the better team. When you take the 30th scoring team in the NBA in the Chicago Bulls, yeah, they can play defense, but when you're putting all that pressure on the defense, the offense has to put some points up. You just can't allow the other team to just always be the aggressor. And they just don't match up. This is a bad series for Chicago. Washington is just too physical, not physical necessarily, but athletic. And they have a lot of weapons they're throwing at them, and it's just and they're just killing it.
Yeah, Jim.
I really don't believe. What I'm saying is, I really don't believe that Chicago can bounce back in this series. They're down 2-0, going on the road for 2 games. I don't think they have what it takes to bounce back against this club.
Yeah, they certainly have defense, which is good this time of the year, Jeff. However, we're talking about the worst offensive team in the NBA, and very difficult with the Chicago ugly offense. Can they steal at least one of these 2 games in Washington?
They might be able to get one of them. It's been my pet peeve my whole life. The teams that can't put the ball in the basket are not going to win. It drives me really crazy. You know, they play great defense, great fundamentals, talent. They have all that, but you can only score by putting the ball in the basket. If you can't do it, you're not going to win. The first game, the Bulls shot 42%. Second game, 43.2%. And the defense hasn't been spectacular either. They gave up leads in both of those games. A team down 0-2 has always been a strong play, but usually that team is playing at home in the third game and not away. But as Jim said, the Bulls always give a great effort, but when they run into a team that's athletic and can shoot, then they're in trouble. And plus, all the experience that the Bulls have in the playoffs, as opposed to the Wizards, has now been nullified because the Wizards have gained all this confidence by winning 2 games on the road. So the Wizards right now, as Jim said, they're the better team, and they've been through a lot of adversity the last few years, a lot of injuries, and now it's all coming together. The Bulls could steal a game in game 3, but as far as the series goes, I doubt very much that the Bulls can come back and take it, John.
Yeah, one of the things that's happening from a matchup point of view is the front court. I mean, Chicago loves to play the physical rebounding game in the low post with Noah. They have an edge over a lot of teams in the NBA, but this isn't one of them. This Washington team actually has a very big physical front court. You got Gortat, the 7-footer, and then Hilario is a big physical guy who really has held his own against Noah and even won quite a few of the battles. And when you can't dominate with rebounding and defense the way Chicago can, you need something else to rely on, and as you guys mentioned, that the offense just hasn't been there. a couple of positive points if you're a Bulls fan. Against the Eastern Conference, they're still 18-10-1 against the spread. Very good bounce-back team, too, 13-5-1 against the spread. And after allowing 100 points, they're 11-1 against the spread. We don't see that too often, but they did allow over 100 in that OT game in Game 2. However, you got 2 games on the weekend where they'll be on the road, and Washington's got to be a young team, but they've got to be relaxed, saying, hey, all we have to do is win 1 at home. We're up 3-1 and ready for the upset. So I think it's a very bad matchup for the higher-seeded team in this one. All right, let's move on to the one of the games on Saturday. You get the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Bobcats. Miami road favorite here of 5.5, total of 188. They're a road favorite, having now won 17 straight games with the Big Three in Miami against Charlotte. And, Jim, you got a young Charlotte team. Are they too young?
Well, they have an injury issue also with Big Al. I mean, he played 40 minutes last night. But, I think what we have here with Miami is we got the psychology. What they started the season off saying, they were going to rest Wade quite a bit, and they did. I think he sat out 27 to 30 games and pretty much allowed the rest of the team to carry the ball. So they didn't set any great records in wins for this year. And I believe that mentality is still carrying on in the playoffs, because winning the game by 1 or winning it by 21 doesn't make any difference. They just want to move on to the next round. Now, that works. You playing the underdog in that situation is okay because you're getting 10, 12 points, 11 points, whatever it is. But now you're on the road and you're dealing with a 5-point line. It gets a little trickier. So Miami is way too good for this team. No question about it. And Charlotte can get close. They're well coached. And in the future, when they get a couple more athletes, they will be very dangerous. But right now, they are not in the same league as Miami. So Miami can name the score is what I'm saying. And when you get double digits, you probably want to take it. But in these single-digit numbers, I'm not going to mess around with it. Miami's going to probably win at least the next 2 games. Well, the minimum the next 2 games, at least 3 of the next, or two of the next 3 games, I should say. So they're going to win these games. The question is, can they stay close?
Yeah, Jeff, this Miami team, one thing that is odd about them is I'm not sure when they're going to show up and play all out. It's a veteran team that can pace itself. They certainly did that during the regular season, even late, saying, we don't care about the number 1 seed, plus getting Dwayne Wade back healthy. In the last game against Charlotte, early 10-point lead, but it ended up being very close. So it's tough to back a team that when you don't know whether they're going to go all out or not.
Yeah, there were 4 games Saturday, and this is probably the one game I'll stay away from, just for a lot of things that we said. The Heat's one goal is to win a championship, and they don't care how bad they look on the way there. They just want to win a game and move on. They shot 52% in Game 2, 39% with 3-point range, but they had 17 turnovers, and that made the game closer than expected. The Bobcats, they finally have a decent team here after all those years of all those high draft picks. They finally have a good team. They finally found the right coach. But to go up against the Heat in the first round of the playoffs, when you haven't been in the playoffs before, it's extremely difficult. And especially now with Al Jefferson being injured, he scored 18 points, 13 rebounds, played 40 minutes with a torn tendon in his foot. How long can he endure that? I think it's going to be a big problem. I had that once. I had plantar fasciitis about 7 years ago. It's something that you can live with, but as long as you don't have to play in the NBA, so it's not easy to get by. So. It lasted about 5 months for me. But once again, we have an 0-2 team here. But this time they're playing at home. But then again, I'm not ready to take the Bobcats here. Even with the points, I'll probably stay off the game, John.
Now, during that 5-month stretch, how many rebounds did you grab?
0. Yeah. I didn't go near the basketball court.
I think Charlotte could do a little bit better than that. I'm going to take a look at the total in this game, because the game 1 squeezed under and then game 2 went over. But I see a defensive battle because Charlotte plays their best defense at home. And they're a great defensive team. They're 23rd in the NBA in points scored. They're 4th in points allowed. So this is a defensive first team under Steve Clifford. And the Miami team, they can play any style. But let's not overlook their defense. They were 5th in the NBA in points allowed. Very good defensive team when they put their minds to it. And as two-time champs, they know this is the time of the year to bring the defense. When the Miami Heat win a game, they're 6-2 under the total that next game. And when you give this veteran team 2 days of rest, they're 5-1 under the total that next game. So I'm going to look at a weekend defensive series starting with Game 3 under the total. All right, our final game, guys, is just a terrific game out west. The Spurs against the Mavericks. It's now 1-1. This will be Game 3 going on Saturday. Dallas certainly, well, it could be up 2-0 when you think about it, Jim. They were very close, having a late lead in that first game, and then just blew them out. I know you had them as your first-round game of the year in Game 2, and it was a never-in-doubt blowout cover. Is this a pretty evenly matched weekend series in Dallas?
Well, it's not supposed to be. I mean, the Spurs are supposed to be the better team. Matter of fact, a lot of people, including myself, thought that they would actually end up winning the entire NBA championship. They have not played up to that potential yet. Dallas has had their number. I mean, even in the first game, they had a 10-point lead with only a few minutes to go, and they blew the game on a 19-4 run by the Spurs. And that was shocking that they collapsed at the end that way. Well, they came back with a vengeance the next game on the road, and they dominated the game. I don't know, they won by 20-some points, and that doesn't happen. Now, the Spurs are going to come back with a vengeance in this game, but you got to remember something. Road favorites. Dallas is not to be taken lightly. I don't like the number in this game. I've seen 3.5. I've seen 4. I don't like that number. The favorite, yeah, I know they're better. And I know they're going to come back with a vengeance and all that. And I know Nowitzki's getting older and all that too. But there's no respect being given to Dallas. And Dallas has played extremely well in the first 2 games. If they come to play again like that, the dog has a chance not only to cover but to win.
Well, Jeff, here we have the Spurs as a road favorite of 3. The total has gone up now to 202. It was like 198 to 200 the last game. And the thing about Game 2, when you look at it, the Spurs, they shot 50% as a team. They were 10 of 20 from long range. All of that is fantastic and within their game, and yet they got blown out. Dallas points in the paint, 44-28 edge. What are some of the strategic coaching moves that you've seen that have helped Dallas so far?
Well, it's very unusual, but I think Rick Carlisle has actually outcoached Greg Popovich in the first 2 games. We don't know how long it's going to last. It might not even last to Game 3, but Carlisle has done has put in some defensive schemes that totally confused the Spurs, and that's been a big factor in the first 2 games. The Mavs have lost 10 in a row to the Spurs, and San Antonio 24 turnovers. Both, very, very unusual series here so far. Things you wouldn't expect. Popovich was recently voted Coach of the Year. That's usually been the kiss of death in the NBA, but you can never underestimate the Spurs. Even when now they're kind of like in a desperate situation. They're going on the road in a 1-1 series. It's really hard to go against the Spurs at this point. Also, I expect Kawhi Leonard to have a much better game than he had the last game. Right now, at this point, I would probably lean toward the Spurs, but then again, that line, as Jim said, it doesn't look too inviting. But as of right now, I'll lean toward the Spurs, John.
Yeah, I would lean toward a high-scoring game as well. First of all, as far as the coaching is concerned, I would be cautious about dumping on Greg Popovich here. This guy has been a terrific coach for a long time and knows how to make adjustments. Cheap line here on the Spurs. And let's remember the Spurs on the road this season, 30-11. So this was a great road team, winning 3 out of every 4 games. Got to believe they're going to bring it. Also some trends to keep in mind if you want to go against Dallas. When they cover the number like they did the last game, they're 5-11 against the spread. The next game, however, they are terrific following in these quarterfinal games, 9-2-1 against the spread. This is a veteran team that knows how to win and even cover this time of the year. I mentioned that I'm looking at the over. These 2 top 10 teams in the NBA in scoring. The last game went over the total, and you've got a Dallas team that when you give them 2 days rest like this, 9-0 over the total. And when Dallas faces a good team, one with a winning percentage of 60% or greater, they are 22-7 over the total. I think games 3 and 4 are going to be high scoring starting with game number 3 on Saturday. All right, guys, let's go through some of the streaks we've been on and some of the red hot offers. Jim, big and National League Division dominator game of the month. That was the Reds -110. They beat the Pirates 4-1. You're 10-4 in the NHL playoffs. You get that first round game of the year Sunday on San Jose. That was a 7-2 laugher. And then, of course, we mentioned that NBA first round game of the year on the Dallas Mavericks. No sweat at all on that one.
No, it's been a good run. I mean, we'll go back to the NFL, the Super Bowl, college basketball. It's been a real joy, and I couldn't be happier. My clients are happy with these picks, and we're going to continue in first round, second round, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, I've got 3 sport package. I got the NHL, baseball, and NBA, all for $99 for 5 straight weeks. That's a $3,000 value. For $99, just call 1-866-841-1655. $3,000 value, $99. I'm red hot. If you don't jump on board, you just can't win. Make the call, 1-866-841-1655.
All right, and Jeff, a 50-25 baseball run. Your best bets in baseball, 18-6 plus a 6-2 NBA playoffs run. How can folks get aboard Red Hot Las Vegas Sports Services?
Yeah, you're going to get 2 weeks of baseball in NBA for just $19. And when you sign up, you're going to get a 20-star high roller consensus release. That's a $100 value. That you're going to get that for free as a bonus. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. 2 weeks of baseball in NBA, just $19. 1-866-575-8916.
All right, there's plenty of money to be made in Las Vegas. Make sure you jump on board these Vegas pros in the NHL, baseball, and the NBA playoffs. Good luck with the games, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Proline.